So this video is on assume role. What is assume role? So in last video we've seen what is role. So let's see what is assume role. So assume role will give you a set of temporary credentials which will help you to access the AWS resources. Okay. So what are the temporary credentials it will provide? Access key, secret key, and security token. Okay. So here in the last video we seen how the role is attached to the EC2 instance, and after that EC2 instance will get the access on a AWS resources, other resource like a S3 bucket. Now we'll see how a user can assume a role now. Okay, so for that we need a user, we need a IAM role. Okay, we need a policy. Okay, so here we need a policy because user cannot assume the role unless and until the user has a policy or a permission to assume that role, right? So first of all we need a policy, and that policy need to be attached to the user so that this user will get a access or a permission to assume the role. Okay, so which role you want to assume, that role you can assume it, and once the user assumes the role, he will get a temporary access in the form of when he temporary access in the form of access key, secret key, and token. There are two ways, okay, to assume the role. You can do it through the console also, and you can do it through the CLI access also. Here we will see how to do it through the console. Okay, so already I have a user and I have a role. Okay, let's create this policy, and I will attach this policy to the user, and I will try to assume the role. Okay, so once I assume the role, then I will get the access on a S3 bucket. This is what we need to test it today. So go to the console, and you can see here user is there. So I will remove the permission whatever I have, and go to the role. Here a role is already ready, right? See here, assume S3 full access role is ready. Now the thing is I need a policy to assume the role, right? So I need this policy. So how to create it? In my case the policy is also ready, but I will create one more policy. I will show you how to create an assume role policy. Okay, so go to the JSON, and here search for STS. STS is the service which will help you to assume the role. See here, it has a action, assume role action. Select it, and resource. So this policy will give the access on resource, right? Which resource? On a role will be my resource. So role ARN I need to copy. Okay, and add the ARN here. So STS service resource type is role, and that role ARN, add it. So policy is ready, right? So next, give the name for the policy, assume role. User assume role. I will give the name as a user assume role, assume role permission. Okay, so assume role permission. Okay, so create it. So policy is ready now. So how to attach it? Go to the user, select the user. In a permission section there is a add permission, add a permission. So attach a existing policy means I already created it. So policy name is a user assume role, right? Select it and give it, add a permission. So I already given a permission to assume the role now, right? Now what I will do, I will log in. I have a console credentials. I will log in a incognito mode. I will log in. See, I already logged in here. Okay, so you can see here test user is logged in, and when I try to access the S3 bucket, I will get the permission denied, right? Now what I will do, I will try to switch the role. Okay, you can see here when I assume the role, because in this policy, in assume role policy, I have given a role, right? Role ARN means I assume the role now. Now I need to switch to that role, right? So once I switch to this role, I will definitely, you have option switch a role. Click on this, give the account id. So account id I will get it from, give the account id and give the role name. Role name is a key. So using that I will switch it to the role, right? A role has a permission. See here now, active is a as a see here, currently active as a s3 access role, right? Now again if I come back to the test user, then again I will lose the access. Again I will lose the access. See here. So this is how through the console you can switch, and you can get the permission by assuming the role. You can get the permissions, right? So once your work is done, you can switch back to the normal user. So this is the console, through the console you are doing. But in the next video I will teach you how to assume the role through the CLI. Okay.